my double fist.
You know, as if I haven't got enough shit for dating, dude.
They call me a liar. I dare you.
Yes, sir.
Quiet Coyote.
Yes,
That's a thing that happens.
Whew, all right.
Oh, shit.
We got some interracial stuff here.
God, I'm sick of talking about black people.
Right, all right. My husband is black, and I am white.
Go ahead, girl. Jungle
End of the
fever.
question. That's all we need to know. That's all we need to know about these people.
Jungle fever.
We are both very political.
What? I love that one.
Kids.
I'm glad I took away your wine.
My husband is black and I am white. We are both very political and attend rallies and events together.
Oh, I like this.
Lately, I felt like maybe I shouldn't be there. Maybe I shouldn't be there and feel shunned by other women. Would I be a better ally to be working behind the scenes as opposed to on the front lines? I want to help, not complicate matters. Sweetheart, get out there, add to the numbers.
Yes.
There's always going to be a hater, but bring your friends. Get out there into the rallies, because without the body count out there, we will be easily shut down.
Yep.
And as whitewashed as especially the Seattle area is, we need every single person out there on the front lines. Maybe don't take the microphone. Maybe don't get on the stage. Maybe don't get on the stage and say and say you say your piece. Maybe let your husband do that one for now. But you do have a valid opinion, a valid point, and a valid presence. And finding outlets out there for those, I guess, is your real challenge. Whether it's a YouTube channel or something like this where you can speak, but you are important.
Yes.
And you are needed out there.
Yep.
Yes. And if you got people coming at you saying, oh, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be doing this, blah, blah, blah. Come at them with your knowledge. Come at them with your facts.
Yep.
Come at them with why you are personally invested in this cause. Like, honestly, just the only way to fight ignorance is with knowledge, and just do it the best you can.
Yeah.
Like you want to do that rally? Go do that rally. You want to do admin work? Do it. I don't care.
Why not
Whatever.
do both? Exactly.
Exactly.
Why not do both?
Exactly.
Yep.
Like,
That's just since white people are so good at paperwork anyway.
Shut up, Sharon. What is this new trend with like office lady names? I don't know, but it's really
How we
funny.
live our life.
Oh my God, Mary.
Oh my God.
I would actually argue that having white people on the front line, like having their faces visible and like having an active part, is actually crucial. Like, again, maybe don't take the mic.
Yeah.
Like, your voice is already accounted for because you are in the majority, but your face, your presence, you're normalizing the fact that
Whatever it is wrong.
everyone should stand up. You normalizing that is crucial. Because if POCs could just be like, well, it's just us standing up and everything's fixed. And be done.
Well, but we actually,
that's not how it works.
Yeah, we actually had this discussion like not too long ago about how rapidly the LGBTQIA movement has progressed in the last 20 years. If there were no white faces in that movement, if there were no white people in the government with queer members of family or friends, we would never have seen that change. Ever. We would not have marriage equality today. Absolutely not.
And it's one of the points that that Dan Savage brings up a lot, is that the whole like empathy upon contact. Like all of a sudden, like they were staunch anti-LGBTQIA, and then their son came out and they were just like, everything is gay. Lightning in the sky. And it's like, what? Like 2 days ago, you were crucifying people in the square.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I need you out there. I'm a African. My mom is white. My dad is black. And if she, like, all the things that we went through in a small white town in Washington, like, I don't know what I would do without people like you out there. Like you are part of my story as well.
Say it loud, say it proud.
And if you ever do adopt, breed, or anything else like that, you are doing it for them and in the future of anybody that would have that identity as well.
Yeah. No evidence.
Oh my God, is that the first one you picked?
Yes! Yes, it was!
Damn it, Dominic, stop it.
Damn it, Tom.
Why you got screw with the movie magic?
All right. I was writing my first novel this year during NaNoWriMo. That's right, that's right. It is cyberpunk. Yay! I know, right? Oh, that's actually some fun. I showed it to my best friend, who's black, I am Thai, and she said I shouldn't make my main character speak black. The character she's talking about is Thai, like me, but he's a motorcycle thief who lives on the streets. To me, he talks urban or city. None of the black people I know talk like he does, especially not my best friend. Advice?
Ooh.
Oh.
I know, right? I actually called out a friend of mine for like typing in a Facebook post in a dialect that was kind of reminiscent of like black street speak. But he considered it redneck white.
Though?
It's
I've heard, you know, white people talk like that too.
but
Yeah.
in blanket media, it's black. Like that is like, and it's I can see especially like the conflict inside of the African American culture and African culture of why you speak so good. Why you add the R on the end of the words.
Yeah.
Like, or even from the Boondocks, why people talk real slow and say all the letters in the word.
Or gone instead of going.
I feel like this goes back to our kind of research point where if she had I'm pulling from this context, it would be more it would be more palatable, I think, versus because when I heard that, when I decoded that in my head, I saw a Thai dude being like, nah man, it's cool, I'm just taking bites, yo. I hacks them some bitches. Like that is how I decoded what that person might be speaking like, and I understand why her black friend was just like, I don't.
That's
why
so
are you
cool.
doing this to me?
Yeah. Yeah, I could see how it would personally affect someone, especially someone who's supposed to be close to you and everything. So if that's the situation, then are you communicating with your friend and letting them know this is how I feel and this offends me, and is she doing anything to, compromise with you about that? That comes into question.
I might give a point of injection on this one.
Yeah. Fine, Jan. I know you do. You always do.
Well, I've been in Japan and been to Thailand. There are a lot of urban parts of Thailand. Not a single one of them sound like the African American inner city urban here in America. They have their own dialect, their own patterns of speech, which I might suggest this person, if they haven't been there, maybe if their character is Thai, to actually go there and to understand the urban speech that in Thailand they use.
Or look at videos too, can't they?
If you want,
They could. I don't know of many videos that really. I mean, I'm just going to say that I don't know of many videos that actually portray that because it's not a part of the society or culture that they want to portray.
Yeah.
But it is very different.
If two girls in one cup is out there, I think it's out there.
But if they want to skip that, one thing that they could do if they want cyberpunk, they want slang, is actually listen or play some freaking Shadowrun. The amount of slang and terminology for all of these things, and start getting that cyber swearing kind of built into it. Because in a cyberpunk landscape, there's almost no reason to call somebody a motherfucker. Like, you can do so many other things. Be like, you basic, you Windows 95 motherfucker, what you got? Like you can break them down on their iOS or what they're doing to hack. Like, get into like the language. I feel like what your friend is actually saying is the language of your work is derivative. And what she's asking you to do is look at shifting it away from a stereotype she is not trying to associate with,
Yes.
and more into your world. So I feel like your friend's pushing you to do better.
Yes.
Not saying that you're doing bad,
Right.
but pushing you to do something better.
More.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I might even actually say, you might actually look into all different types of urban dialect.
Yeah.
And maybe sort of create your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a cyberpunk. I mean,
Right.
you have
Yep.
you have
You got a
the
lot in
ability.
there. Yeah.
What was that movie that did that?
The-
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. thank you.
Yeah.
Where it's
Yeah.
like they created where it had French and English and
Yeah.
German, and it was just all mixed together.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it created their own language,
Yeah.
their own dialect. You have the ability to do that.
And-
And I actually think that might even add to your story even more.
Exactly.
And make
So-
more than one
yeah.
character have a
Yeah,
dialect.
Yes. And having a new register or a dialect or even an entirely new language is extremely common
Yes.
in sci-fi, especially in cyberpunk, because we are in an increasingly globalized society. As barriers and countries just sort of fall away and we have everyone all together, then there is a lot of linguistic melting, there's a lot of sharing, there's a lot of creoles coming about, and I'm going to limit myself on the amount of linguistic geeking out that I can do.
Go deep. Go
I
deep.
knew we could be friends.
Go deep.
No, I
I
absolutely.
I have a master's in this. I don't want to go that far. But so here's the thing: like in Clockwork Orange,
Oh, yes.
there
Oh
was,
my God.
Yes.
Nadsat, which
Yes.
is
In a-
a Russian English hybrid register where we have Russian words that are imported directly into English, switched over for English phonology, shifted into English writing, and then now they have this entirely new idea that surrounds it. And Kevin was talking about with Blade Runner City Speak, we have Japanese, we have Spanish, Italian, French, English, all pulling together. Like it's not entirely cohesive language that was being used, but the structures that were put out for that and then later created for the conlang, that exists. The Fifth Element.
Oh, I forgot about the Fifth Element.
There are linguistic things all over the place.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the language that's
God.
Multipass.
I was
the
gonna
Alpha
say
and the Omega.
Mila Jovovich. that language, it's not a complete language, but it was enough that she and Luc Besson were able to sit down and have like very small conversations back and forth on set that like no one else was able to understand.
Yeah.
But because there was enough of it that existed, enough of it that you could convey meaning and have these rapid fire exchanges between two people, that it had this entirely believable quality to it that no one had seen before.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that there are millions of speakers of this language that I haven't said yet because I'm getting there, in Gattaca, I don't know how many people actually knew this or paid attention or got this, but the extra language that a lot of people are saying, one of the languages that you keep hearing in like background dialogue in speakers and like advertisements and things like that, that's Esperanto. There are millions of people who speak that. The idea was that in the future we're going to have a lingua franca, something that everyone knows so that no matter where you're coming from, you can actually relate to other people. The idea was that it was going to be Esperanto. And that's probably not going to come true because Esperanto has kind of fallen by the wayside. Again, millions of people speak this. Some people speak Esperanto as their first language. It's extremely uncommon. These people exist. It's probably going to be some dialect of English or Mandarin. I mean, that's what's kind of going to happen. That's where we're going. That's the trajectory. I'm not saying Esperanto is a really cool language. It was designed with a lot of thought and care into who was going to be speaking it and what they were going to do with it.
You even have elephants.
Yes!
you have Klingon. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
and
I mean,
people develop these
fucking-
languages too. Like I was watching this anime a couple of days ago, and I don't know what the language was, but it sounded Russian. But it's called The Devil is a Part-Timer.
Yes. Oh,
Right? Oh my god, sorry. So I'm watching it, and like when the characters are talking back and forth, it sounds like they're speaking Russian or
some sort of Slavic.
some sort of Slavic or something. But I found that so much more interesting watching anime characters speak a European language
Yes.
compared to someone trying to be urban or something
Yeah.
like that. Like I want to know what language they're talking, because
Yeah.
it just drew me in a lot more. And it was
Yeah.
more of the higher, I think like the higher class people that were talking it, whereas like the simple people were just speaking regular English or something like that.
And I mean, to phrase your friend's question just a little bit better would be, why in a cyberpunk future is your urban language recognizable in modern times?
Exactly. Exactly.
Mic drop. That's
That's all I
it.
got.
Is that your mic drop? 'Cause we can't.
Do not drop the mic. Those things are
And
expensive.
it's attached to the camera right now. Like, dropping this mic is a terrible idea.
No.
Oh, wait. Anybody need more wine?
Okay, next question. My parents don't want me to date a white guy. My best friend, since I was 9, is white, and as long as I remember, I've wanted to grow up and marry him. My parents say I'm killing black culture if I marry a white guy, but David and I have everything in common. Grew up in the same neighborhood, like all the same things, and I think we're meant to be together. The trouble is that my parents have helped David's family a lot, and he would never do anything to hurt them. Is there anything I could say to them that would change their minds?
No.
Are you in a relationship with David?
Yeah.
I know, right? Like, what's going on? Is it just
Yeah, they fucking.
Like,
They fucking.
wow! They might literally be 15.
They're 15. They fucking.
Yes. Jesus fuck. I would say, yo, hey, mom and dad, I eloped. Seriously, you're just gonna have to do
Okay,
it.
I'm gonna take a
That's
look
bad
at
advice,
this
don't
one
take
real
it.
quick.
No, because the issue is he doesn't want to do anything because he doesn't want to go against her parents.
Just real quick. I mean, I'm not really caring about whether black or white or at some point. At this point, I know this is what it's about. My parents, one is Arab, one is Mizrahi, one is Jewish.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a lot of shit.
Do they have?
they don't have an issue.
Okay, cool.
We don't have an issue.
But the problem is it's not about the race. It's about the fact
So-
that her parents have helped him and his parents out so much,
But it
and he doesn't want to go. So it's not only about convincing the parents; it's about convincing him too.
So, what I got here is that our parents do not want her to date a white man because they is doing away with the black culture or is not helping that. And I'm like, I can't answer that question.
Yep.
I
can.
I can say this.
We're not her parents.
I'm not her parents. I don't know how old she is.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're above 18, I would tell your parents to say fuck off. But that's my own thing because I don't. I will say
You
this.
might have a different relationship with your parents than you should.
Right.
Fair.
Of course, I do. I mean, that's the thing. Is I love my parents very much.
Yeah.
When
I
I
could
told
not say
them
that to my
when I
mom
told
because
them I
she
was
would
gay, you think that went over well.
Yeah. I haven't told my mom yet.
But there is
We're on camera, right?
yeah.
I don't know what you're talking
No,
about.
right? But I'm saying there's a lot of points. As if you're under the age of 18, I am sorry to say that unfortunately you're in your parents and you're living in your parents' home.
Yeah.
That's I don't.
We can assume that they've had a first drink.
Okay, if we're assuming over the age of 18, okay, that's fine. If you're assuming you're over the age of 18, you're an adult. Make your own adult decision.
Yeah.
So
Right.
She wants to.
I gotta,
He doesn't.
as a half breed, I gotta throw down on this.
Yeah.
Go for it.
This is like, because you're also.
I am the product of
Yeah.
2 fucking generations.
We are
Yeah,
we're all half-breeds.
yeah.
No, like if you're saying, oh, that's gonna kill black culture,
differently.
incorrect.
Like,
You are adding culture. Do you understand how many cultural influences I have? Like, I grew up as a kid. I had Japanese blocks, like these little interlocking, like almost Lego, but there's much bigger because I was a tiny freaking kid. Like they would have like
We call
one.
those Duplo.
Not in Japan. They got different words that I don't know.
they have different words.
I grew up.
It's on the side. It's on the side. Japan. We have different words.
I grew up with all kinds of different culture mixing, and I fucking love it. Like, if you're saying like, oh, well, shouldn't marry that guy because you're killing black culture. No. Here's the thing, you get to keep your damn culture. And get to bring a new generation in and say, hey,
Yes.
do you want to know about black culture? Let me fucking tell you. Hey, do you want to know about German, Russian, fucking
White people.
whatever, any damn culture. I have no idea who David is, but just
Yeah.
whatever cultural background he has,
Yeah.
he brings that in. This is not a division of culture. This is not
Yeah.
separation. This is not taking away. This is adding to. The kid who gets to grow up in this family gets to be culturally enriched by multiple sources. And let me fucking tell you, it's awesome. Do it.
So,
So what
Make
you're
your parents
saying
watch that.
is, tell David that he would not only be celebrating his culture, he would be celebrating your culture at the same time.
they got dark fast. But as also on that, so I was never allowed to identify as black until I left my family home. Like, love my parents, love them. They had their reasons. They don't make any sense. Whatever. But I got out into the world and I got my identity, and I've been fighting to get it. But this isn't about me. It's about my son. My son is half Portuguese, quarter black, quarter white mutt, and he identifies as black because it was important for me, and it was important for his mother, for him to identify as African American and then Portuguese, because on the books, black has a legal definition, especially in America, and anybody that you know that's like, I don't identify as black. Fuck you. There's a legal definition for it. We can go to court. But like, it was important, and you don't. Culture is one of those things that, as it grows, outgrows racial boundaries, national borders, and everything. Look at hip hop. Hip hop is everywhere. Every culture has a rap group that's the #1 rap group in that country.
Possibly the only one, but okay.
Possibly, yeah. But still, you have Germans rapping. Like, you have these great, like, you have Japanese people rapping, Russian dudes rapping in the middle of Chernobyl because it's the most metal place to rap. Culture cannot be confined by a lineage.
Yes.
Culture, like, we no longer have the tapestry of our, and unless your parents have Solomon's original diamonds, and are like, we are black this long, we have to keep it here. We're the last of our kind. And you can't breed out of 5 people or else they'll break down in some way.
Yeah.
Like, in some mythical magic way. Like, we teach culture, we inherit genetics.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my son is as high yellow as you could be. He's gonna get a bank account. He probably has a loan already that he's paid off and has a higher credit score than me just on his melanin count. But he knows he is black. And he is proud of being black. He has made 4 black jokes to date at age 7, and all of them have been perfectly timed. So,
You must be so proud.
God, you have no idea. The only thing you can really do with your parents is pursue your life, tell them the truth, and understand that in an infinite amount of possibilities, there are some that you don't get to have your parents in your life. And if that is, and that might be your reality if you pursue this. If it is worth it, go for it, hun. If you, and it's the same thing with every coming out story. It is the same thing, and it sucks that you have to come out over race lines, which we settled in court with Love V.
Oh my God.
But with every coming out story, you know that you're doing it at a cost, and hopefully, if they choose that, it will not be forever. It will be a pain for a while, but it doesn't have to be forever.
Yeah.
Can I
You also have to-
relationship counselor this for a hot second?
Yeah, hit it.
Because
Do it.
it's kind of what something I do. So I will say that from your question, it sounds like David is hesitant, possibly with the how your family has helped him out, whatever, blah blah blah. If you two are in a committed relationship at the moment, honestly have that discussion about, do you want to get married and why, and how that could come about. If, I'm not going to vilify somebody, but if David starts like farting around at the question and like just drags it out under the guise of, oh, I don't want to hurt your parents. That's time to have another relationship talk.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
that being said, if you both are in agreement that you do want to be together and stay together, then you should both be able to have a nice dinner with your parents and explain that. And as I learned growing up too, culture, like you said, can be taught. It's in your food, it's in your language, it's in your style differences, it's in your aesthetics, it's and there's, like you said, there's really no true thing anymore as, carrying on the lineage, carrying on the family name, and by the way, smash the patriarchy.
Yes.
But I will say that in an increasingly heterogeneous society as this is, the melting pot is happening right now. Like, get over it. Like, there's no such thing. Like, you can have all the appreciation in the world for his culture, for your culture. That's fine. Like you said, putting it together only increases understanding and communication and balance in the force. But there's no room anymore to be ignorant. There's no room to be insular anymore. Let every other nation be as homogenous or insular as they want, but that is not what the U.S. is about.
Yeah, coming from a lineage where they don't believe in mixing, they don't, oh boy, they don't believe in muddying the waters or anything like that. I have had this same thing happen where the guy that I was dating was white, and I had to convince my parents, who are very, very stuck-up black people, that I wanted to marry him. And, they had their tests, you could say, and it was more of a situation of them coming to a place, sitting down, and actually talking things out. Now, what Mary was saying about David seeming a little hesitant, I think you really need to talk to him and see where his mind and his heart is at, because if he's not as invested as you seem to be in those couple of sentences that we just read, then you two definitely need to have a conversation. Because when I went in it with my partner, it was, we knew that we wanted to be together, and it was a situation of us taking that and not saying tackling my parents, but coming together and talking to them and communicating that with them and showing them that this was for real and this is what we wanted, and it wasn't some made up fantasy that we were interested in, that we were actually committed to one another and we wanted to be with one another. So I think that you and David need to have a conversation first of all, and if he is 100% wanting to be committed with you, then you both need to put on a strong front in front of your parents. And if that's something that your parents aren't happy with, then unfortunately that's going to be the situation, because my parents weren't. But they'll come around if they want to see the grandkids.
If you decide to breed, which
they will come around. Believe me.
Okay, so we're making some assumptions, and I also don't want you to make any assumptions.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know that you are with David because you never said David and I are together.
Right.
We are assuming you're with him. It sounds like you're assuming that David wouldn't hurt your parents. So, because that's how it read, was that was David wouldn't do anything to hurt my parents, but have you talked to David? Is this something, is this something that he wants? Or is David even the marrying type? Because, I mean, in my life, I do not personally plan on being married.
Well, she said he would never do, or they said that he would never do anything to hurt them.
But, have you...
That sounds definite to me.
Yeah, but like that, there's questions. Like I have questions on it. Like, so it sounds like there's a lot of talks you need in your relationship.
Yeah.
Talk, communicate.
I'm sorry that the world is not covered in really soft pillows and made of kittens. The world is hard and made of white people.
Also, the gene pool is this big. The gene pool is this fucking big.
No, it's
8 billion of us, and we're all incestuous.
We haven't 8 billion yet. We're working on it.
Okay, either way,
If you count the
there needs to be
if you count the flat Earth.
there needs to be communication.
Absolutely.
There seems to be a lot of what ifs.
Ricky Tiki Talk.
What you need to do is, just sit down and have a talk, because communication is honestly the best thing that you can do.
And also, mixed babies don't die of horrible fucking genetic diseases.
Yeah, we're actually stronger.
We're actually the superior race because the rest of you been fucking each other's cousins for too long.
Oh my god!
Can I go into the fact that some scientists already found out that Puerto Ricans are the perfect human?
Puerto Ricans are the perfect human.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Never sick. Thank you.
So I was just going to reiterate.
I just want to say, Okinawans have the longest lifespan on the planet.
I don't care about living forever.